So I have a confession to make, and that is that I'm a software engineer, but I've never tried Claude Code. I've also never tried Cursor. And in fact, I've actually had access to GitHub Copilot for probably the last year or so through my company, and I haven't tried that either. I have generated code every now and again from ChatGPT, but I also realize that that's probably the worst way to generate code with AI these days, so it's time to level up a little bit. And I would like to preface all of this by saying that I am not anti-AI by any means. I actually think quite the opposite, that in order to succeed as a software engineer, I will probably need to adopt these tools in order to level up and continue on in this profession. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I think part of the hesitancy with trying some of these tools has, well, one is laziness, but two is honestly just not knowing exactly where to start. I think that's a pretty bad excuse, though. It's probably mostly the laziness, because if all the vibe coders can figure out how to do it, then it can't be that hard, right? So all that being said, I am going to get Claude Code up and running today in one of my side projects. I have a new feature that I want to implement, and I'm gonna use Claude Code to help me implement it. This is a code base and a technology stack that I am very comfortable in, so I'm very curious to see what kind of advantages I'll get. I'm sure there will be advantages speed-wise, but I'm gonna be starting from absolutely zero. I don't even have a plan right now, so we're gonna hop into Anthropic, right? That's the company that makes this. Go into the website, pick a plan, get it set up in VS Code, get it into my project, and start building the feature. So let's go do that. All right, let's get this started. I'm pretty excited. I will say this is the third time I've recorded this, but third time's a charm. No way I can mess it up again, right? So I'm going to start here with these docs, and any docs that I am referencing I will leave down in the description for you to check out. Especially if this is your first time going through this, you'll probably need something to reference. So this is what I'm referencing, and here we go. So this is a quick start guide from Anthropic themselves. First thing I did is obviously just make sure you have Node at least 18 installed, and then you can install globally Claude Code so that you can use it in any of your terminals. So that was the first thing that I did, and then I pulled up a code repository that I want to start using this in, and all I did was type in the Claude command. And this is going to pop up if you do not have a plan yet. It's going to ask you to sign in and choose a plan. And I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to do something on a free plan. Unfortunately, that is not really possible, because you have to be on at least the Pro plan in order to access Claude Code directly in your terminal. So I went ahead and got this Pro plan. This is $17 for if you bill annually, but I did a monthly plan, so I'm paying $20 a month right now. And I'm curious to see what kind of results I can get with this. I'm also pretty curious if I'll be able to do everything that I want to do on just this Pro plan versus the Max plan. Obviously, the numbers that they have are not super concrete. It's just more usage, which is pretty insane, and 5x to 20x more usage. So there's no concrete numbers here or anything like that, but I think, at least for the purpose of this video, I'll definitely be able to do everything that I want to do from this Pro plan. So once you have selected your plan and you have given Anthropic all of your money, you're able to start using Claude in your terminal. So that's exactly what I have going on here. And let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to build with Claude. So I have been working on Dev Dispatch for a while. It launched last week. So this is a real-time job board for remote US-based software engineers. And I want to add an additional feature to this, which is essentially right now we have the ability to see these jobs that come in real time. Obviously there's no jobs today because it's Sunday. Hopefully nobody's working on the weekend, but it's really nice to just be able to see all these jobs coming in real time. But it would also be really nice if you could track which jobs you have applied to. And so as I've applied to jobs over the past 5 years or so, I have used a Google spreadsheet to keep track of all this information. So I really just want an area where, say I saw this job from Flex Software Engineer 2, I kind of want like a plus button, and this would add it to my active applications. And then there'll be a new applications tab up here, which will keep track of it. I can manage the status, manage any comments that I want to put on. Maybe I have an interview coming up, something like that. And so yeah, that is the feature that we're going to build. In order to do that, we'll need a new entity, a new database entity to take care of this application. And this is something that I wanted to do up front because I want to be very specific in what I'm telling Claude to do. While it is pretty simple and I do think it could figure it out, it definitely seems that the more specific that you're able to be with your prompts, the better time the AI will have in writing your code. And ideally, I would really just like to have a fast feedback loop where I tell it exactly what it needs to do and it does it exactly as I want it to do. And there's like not a whole lot of back and forth. So currently I have a job entity and a user entity. There's more properties on these, but the most important ones for the application are we'll need a foreign key reference to that job ID and user ID, and then some additional properties such as the status, a comment, and a date. So final thing before I start prompting Claude to generate some code for me is the Claude.markdown file. And I also pulled up these Claude Code best practices for agentic coding. And you'll see that step 1A in this is to create a Claude.markdown file. There's actually a /init command that you can run inside of the terminal that will generate this for you if you want, which is actually super cool. It'll read through your code base and kind of just get the best practices that you have going on and the technologies that you're using. But for this repository, and this is my backend repository, so this hosts my APIs using Nest.js. It also has a connection to a Postgres database, and then I'm using Drizzle as my ORM. And so I kind of just wanted to tell it that. I know that it could go and parse through my code and figure all of that out, but I also just wanted to be very explicit with it and just tell it those things because that's really all it needs to know. The other thing that's kind of important is there's two main aspects to this application, which is there's the API side and then there's a scraping side. So I have this separation of concerns section where I'm like, hey, essentially you shouldn't probably need to touch any of the scraper code, and I reference where those scraper files live. And I really just want you to focus on the API. So with all that being said, I'm going to have Claude generate some of the API endpoints that I'll need for this feature. So the first thing, I'll need it to generate my application entity in a Drizzle schema. Then I'll need some API endpoints to be able to create an application, delete an application, update an application's status or comment. And then I'll also need to update my job code. So essentially I'm going to have these plus icons here, but if somebody has already applied to one of these jobs, I want to just display like a check mark or something instead. So I'll need to rework this query a little bit to join on that application table and see if there's any applications for that job. So let's start prompting. This is nuts. All right, so I essentially just gave it a prompt that described that ERD that I was talking about before, said, hey, generate the schema for me, please. Actually, I didn't say please. Oh no, it's not gonna do it. So I can see it is referencing my current database schema files. Because I did ask it to do that. I want to generate the primary key in the way that the other entities are doing that. Alrighty, so it did a great job creating my application schema, did it exactly how I wanted to. And I will say some of these I did already generate from the past couple of takes, so bear with me. And so I was able to generate the API endpoints as well. Like I said, did this in one of my previous takes, but I tried to break it down into every single endpoint and just give it really specific instructions. Since I'm working in an existing code base, it definitely has some good examples to base what it's writing off of. I'm definitely curious what it would kind of come up with if this was a fresh repository. But for things like create, update, delete, I already have examples of those for different entities in this code base, so it pretty much just replicated that. And it definitely makes me think a little bit about where the benefit comes from. Like, to be honest, I probably could have done this in the same amount of time as Claude was doing it. So I think for things like this, it's nice to not have to copy and paste a bunch of stuff. I can just tell Claude to go do it for me. I think I'll get more of that time saving over on the front end repository. One, I don't like writing front end code as much, and two, it tends to not be like as cut and dry. So I'm pretty curious to see what it'll come up with on the front end side. So speaking of that, let's hop over to the other code repository that I have, and we'll initiate a Claude session for this as well. And I'm going to run both of these applications so that I can kind of see my local and my prod instances side by side to see the changes that Claude is making. So for this repository, I'm going to run that /init command to have it automatically generate the Claude.markdown file. This is a React application using Material UI to style components. It's also using things like React Router and TanStack's React Query. So I'm assuming that it'll be able to pick up on all of those things in this init command. So let's run that. And as you can see, that is generating the Claude.markdown file. It is analyzing my code base. And that did take a decent amount of time. I think that took at least a minute. But for the most part, it didn't take too long. And it has pretty much everything that I just said. It has my development commands, my build commands. It has the core structure, like I said, React with TypeScript. We're using Vite as my build tool. Awesome. Material UI, React Query, React Router. So yeah, I think it did a great job just being very comprehensive and combing through the code base and figuring out all the things that I'm doing. So now it'll use this kind of as the context for everything that I ask it. All right, so let's start generating some front-end code too and tapping into those API endpoints that I just created. Like I said, I do want to have like a plus button over here that'll add it to my list of applications, but I also do want to add another option to my nav bar up here, which is just a space for those applications. Then we'll need a new component. So let's have it do all of that. So you can also reference specific files, which is pretty cool, just by using the @ symbol and then typing the path to that file. So I know I want to register a new route in my main file, so I'm kind of just referencing that and telling it to do exactly what I want it to in the space that I want it to. And so I like it's kind of doing everything in steps right now, which is really nice. So essentially I gave it like 3 or 4 different things that I wanted it to do, and they were all like very simple things, so I figured it could handle it one after the other, and that is exactly what it's doing, breaking it down into these little bite-sized chunks, which is really nice. And I know that there's a way to not have to accept the changes that it makes every single time, but I don't want to do that quite yet. I'm not comfortable enough just letting it run wild with my code base so far. I do definitely want to look at what it's going to do, and then if I need to tell it to do something different, then I'm more than happy to do that. All right, so let's see. All right, we have another area here in my navbar, and awesome. So this is a blank empty component. We're at the /applications route. So that's looking great. So obviously now let's do something a bit more complex where we want to add that plus button, and we'll call our API route to create an application. And then I do also want it to change from this plus icon over to like a check mark icon. So let's see if it can do all of that in one go. That did that suspiciously fast. But I think that looks pretty good. Let's see if it actually calls my endpoint and creates. I got a 201 on that. All right, cool. So that's pretty sweet. But like I said before, once someone has added an application, I do want this to change into like a check mark saying that they have already applied to this job. I also want a hover tooltip on all of these to give some indication of what these are. All right, so I told it to do that. And as it's doing that, I'm kind of having a little bit of an existential crisis. And that's pretty much just that this is the first time I'm using these kind of tools, and obviously it's doing well. It's doing very well, and so I'm having a hard time understanding my emotions right now because there's 2 things happening. I am excited because I'm potentially able to code a whole lot faster and just like build all kinds of projects really quickly, which is a very exciting thing. But then there's also this intense sadness that is like, what is the point of my existence as a software engineer, and is it going to continue growing as these tools get better? I think one of the reasons that this is going so well right now is because I have a lot of context on 1, these code bases and technologies, but 2, just like thought process as a software engineer. So I think I definitely have a leg up on maybe other people who are not familiar with exactly what they need to be asking in order to get the results that they want. So that's good, I guess. That's about the only thing that I can think of that's good for my ego. So yeah, a little bit of an existential crisis right now, but we've only had 1 so far, so that's not too bad. So let's check this out. We got a nice hover now. And yes, this did change to a check mark, but I don't have the hover tooltip on that. And I also want to modify my whole job search now to actually grab whether or not we've already applied to this, so that the next time you reload this, obviously it's not going to have that check mark anymore, so we want to persist that. So after like 5 minutes, probably, this entire feature from the job side of view, from the jobs point of view, is done. We are able to pull whether or not this user has applied to these jobs. We're able to apply to new jobs. Finally found a bug. Not so good now, are you, Claude? All right, so when I push this change, I guess it looks like it is not refetching when I try to do a new application. So this should have turned into a check mark, but it did not. All right, so that's all looking great. The last thing obviously we need to do is populate our applications page and give the user the option to update the status and add some comments. I'm gonna fast forward this part a little bit because I've already done this. Like I said, this is the third time I'm doing this. So I already had Claude whip this up, and now we can kind of just go ahead and see the final result of my first foray into agentic coding. Is that what they call it? Is that what the kids call it these days? All right, so this is the finished product. As you can see, these are the list of applications. Maybe I'll want to add an ellipses if this hits a max length. But for the most part, this all looks great. User can go in and say like, oh, I have an interview on Monday. They can go ahead and save that. They're also... I'm not entirely sure why that changes the order. I should probably look into that. But also you can say, oh, I got ghosted. I can't work here anymore. They don't want me to work for them, that's fine. Or I could also just get rid of applications and we get this nice snack bar at the bottom. Same thing on the jobs page. If we want to apply to this one, boom, we've applied to it and we get this nice snack bar over here. So I would say that is incredibly successful. All of this took, I don't know, not even an hour. Probably 30 to 45 minutes, which is pretty insane. I would say if I was doing everything just by myself with no help, like it very well could have taken double the amount of time. On the back end, it was really just probably a lot of copy and pasting. On the front end, there would have been a bit more work to achieve some of these features. So, like I said, a little bit of an existential crisis, but also excited and sad at the same time. So there's a lot of emotions flowing right now, which is more than I thought was going to happen from a coding session. But maybe that's why they call it vibe coding, because there's vibes all around me. I don't know exactly what those vibes are. If you have any more tips on how to make the most out of Claude, maybe things that I missed or things that I didn't do, definitely leave them down in the comments. Like I said, I will leave links for all of the documents that I referenced, and I'll also leave a link over to Dev Dispatch if you're interested in remote software engineering jobs. But that's going to do it for this video. I really hope that my audio recorded because I'm not doing this a fourth time. So hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one.